Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Auto Accident Attorneys podcast brought to you by the Auto Accident Attorneys Group. Our motto is simple. We take care of you. While we're known for helping people navigate the aftermath of auto accidents, this podcast, as you've come to know, is about so much more. Here you'll find helpful episodes on what to do after an accident, how to deal with insurance adjusters, and even tips for preventing accidents in the first place. But we don't stop there. This show is about taking care of people in every way we can. And on staying on that theme for this week, we're taking care of you, listeners, Shinavandagon Aziz, by having an immigration attorney on the podcast today, a fellow Persian attorney as well, Miss Nooshin Bagheri.
Yes.
Miss Bagheri, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Miss Bagheri runs the Bagheri Law Firm in Sandy Springs, and she also has a fantastic podcast, which I've listened to. I got a lot of great information and some great stories as well.
Yeah.
The name of the podcast is So Where Are You From? You can find it on all major platforms. I have so many questions for you today, Nushin. But before I dive in, being as that you're a Persian guest, I wanted to show the viewers and listeners peste آوردم. I've got some treats when you're
Merci.
پذیرایی.
دست در نکنه.
پذیرایی بکنم. When you have a Persian guest, you always have to bring fruits and nuts. We didn't have any fruits in the office, so I brought some nuts.
And you provided the chai.
And that's right, yes. Nushin John, please introduce yourself to our listeners and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me, inviting me to your podcast. Yes, immigration is a hot topic amongst many. My name is Nooshin Bagheri. I was born and raised here in Atlanta, Georgia. My family's from Iran, so first generation Iranian American. I practice immigration law. I have my own firm called Bagheri Law Firm located here in Georgia. However, because we deal with federal law, I can assist clients all across the U.S. and all across the world, which I do have clients located from Malaysia to Europe to Iran, from California up north, and so forth. So that's the beauty of immigration law, that I could assist anywhere you're located at. It's been an interesting few years, a lot of changes. And during that time, you know, when you're practicing law, as you can relate to, you kind of want to have that creative outlet. And so my creative outlet was having my own little podcast, just kind of stepping outside my comfort zone, bringing attention to other areas of immigration, not so serious areas of immigration, where it was called So Where Are You From? Because being born and raised here, with the color tone of my skin, no one would believe that I'm from the U.S. And so they'll keep asking, no, so where are you from? I'm like, Atlanta. They're like, no, really? And then you had to go through this whole spiel. So I just want to bring different perspectives of the lives of immigrants and what they've been through. And some people like enjoyed it because it touched certain parts of their lives, of their stories, of their journey. And
Absolutely.
So just to make it bring out what we don't speak about because of our culture. We always keep a lot of things in, or either by shame, or you just don't talk about this. I want to expose it so that people can feel relatable to somebody else and be like, hey, I'm going through the same journey too.
Yeah, that's amazing. The one thing that you and I share in common is we were both born in the South.
Yeah.
You were born in Atlanta. You're from the big city though. I was born in Chattanooga.
Oh, really?
And my parents had the wherewithal. This boy is being born in Chattanooga. They're like, let's name him Muhammad.
Okay.
So thanks, Mom and Dad. On that note, though, one of the things that I found very relatable was your experience when people are asking, where are you from?
Yeah.
And you say Atlanta, and they pause.
Yeah.
And they wait, like, what's going on? You mentioned that you identify the opposite of wherever you're at. Amongst Iranians, or if you're in Iran, you feel American.
Oh, yes.
And when you're amongst Americans, you feel Iranian.
That was an interesting part growing up. So my parents, you know, I love them that they did this now, especially as I got older. Every 2 years, they would take us back to Iran for summer vacation to get to know our family over there. But the funny thing is, I would be here, born and raised here, and everyone, because just a color skin tone, they'll be like, oh, you're Iranian, you're not American enough. And also because my parents raised me traditional, they didn't allow me to be full on American either. They're like, no, here are the traditions and culture. Right. But then when I would go to Iran, people would be like, okay, like they'll let me get away with things because, oh, she's American. And so I never like fit in either. So it was just kind of, I took advantage of it when I could. You could play ignorance, but like in Iran, I'm like, oh, I didn't know because I'm American. But
You got a pass for that.
I got a pass. I got a pass from like the family, but it was hard because you just don't feel like you fit in
Yeah.
like in either location. And I try to take the best of both. So I sometimes feel like I have an identity crisis myself too. I'm like, who am I? But I just try to mesh as well. Like sometimes I hate to say it, just in work. Like, a lot of my clients are immigrants, and I love what I do because I feel like I can relate to them how I grew up and because my family and everybody else. But then when it comes to business, I have to bring my American side into it and be like, okay, no, 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 we're not. I don't taro. We're not gonna do this. No bargaining. I don't know how to bargain.
That's so funny that you mentioned that because اولا از هموطنام خیلی خوشم میاد همیشه میخوام از شما I don't know how to say it in Farsi to
Yeah.
take care of you.
Well, I was about to. I guess so. You're
What Miss Nushin just said. One, it's part of the culture, and everybody likes to have a good deal or value, and I think that because of that connection, به خاطر اینکه هموطن هستیم,
Yeah.
there's almost this sense of, I don't mean this as negatively as it sounds, but there is a sense of entitlement, like خب خودمونی هستیم.
Yeah.
But something has to pay for the building too,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's not pro bono work. Although where on my end, and I know that I see that you do an annual
Yeah.
donation drive, where we can, we will make those concessions, and I try and help as much as possible. But I imagine, I do contingency fee based work.
Mhm.
You don't have that luxury. You have to. I say luxury. It's not a luxury, but you have billable hours or
Flat
pay
fee.
flat fee. Okay,
Yeah.
so your expertise comes from what's in your mind, and for you to express what's in your mind and help someone, and they need time.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you probably have a lot of pushback on. You have like consultation fees. They want to get on the phone and talk to you.
Yeah. That's the problem. I wish as anybody could, do the pro bono, but there's so much, and I have overhead, and you have, you like just like anybody else, you work, you get paid. I think a lot of misconception is there are people who do offer free consultation in immigration. However, you have to be wary of the free consultations. Are you really getting any information? Like they'll just give you 15, 20 minutes. It's a sales tactic. It's a scare tactic. Like hire me, I can do it. Or they guarantee something, which they can't guarantee in immigration.
Right.
Like when you get a paid one, you get in-depth evaluation. So you come out with something, either you want to continue with a lawyer or you can do it on your own. But you come out with information and clarification of your personal case. It's not a sales pitch, at least for me. So I think that's why when I charge, I give my time, I do my research, I do my follow-up, and then you have access to me in a sense, because I need to develop that client attorney privilege as well. So if we're not signing on to something, or someone just calls and picks up, says, hey, can you answer this question? We're not developing that client attorney privilege, and I have liability as well. And I don't want to misguide you. So I want that time. I want to know your background, make sure I'm informing you correctly because it is sensitive. And a lot of people don't realize certain things, like even when I sign on a client, in the middle of it, I find out some information that could either be good or harmful to their case. And so it's like, that's even when I'm like with you for a while. So imagine if you
Right.
think you have one question, you want to answer it real quickly. I can't because I'm going to miss key points. I know you're not providing me what I need to know that's critical.
Right. Talk me through that journey. I was luckily born here in the States, so this is not something that I have personal experience with. But
Yeah.
what does that look like from that perspective? I'm already putting myself in the Persian listener's mind. I don't even know what it looks like. That I'm here. I need to change my status, so I need to get a consult.
Yeah.
What does that look like logistically from the potential client's perspective? Step one is to pay for a consultation for a review.
So yes, so like how I run it is, so a client will reach out to my office, and then I tell them, it's like, listen, let's schedule a time that's one-on-one, that we can talk about your case, because otherwise, a lot of people either want to try to DM me on social media or send a text. I'm like, I can't give secure information over social media. It's not beneficial to you or for me as well. And so we're going to have a lot of miscommunications that way. So let's meet up, either like a virtual meeting, which I do, or in person at the office. And so we offer that to make it easy for everybody. But what that allows is we're reserving a time. You're reserving my time. I ask you to submit whatever documentations you have. I sit down, I review it, I go over your options, I go over what options you don't have, I explain the whole process, I explain, what we can guarantee, what we can't guarantee, and where we're at in in the universe of immigration law.
Mhm.
And so that time is like, I feel like it's worthy enough that, you're coming out with something. And then sometimes I can guide you, be like, okay, these are your options. And sometimes with immigration, people think it's just forms that's online. You can fill it yourself. It's so much more than that. And I can't emphasize that enough. But hey, if you want to just complete a form, I could tell you like which options you have. You can go forth, or you can secure work with me. And then it offers a time. Do you want to even work with me? Do you like my energy? Do you like how I work, or how I present myself? I'm interviewing you as well, because with immigration, the cases, and just like in your area, I'm sure, it could take a year, 2 years, 3 years. We're together.
Right.
We become family at the end. It's like
Right.
my clients become my family at the end. And so we have to see, do we work together well? And so it's kind of like an interview process, me of you and you of me. So
Mhm.
you allow yourself that. Give yourself, that benefit of meeting with the attorney one-on-one.
What's the most common call that you get for consultation? Let's start there.
Oh, well, the common call always starts with, I have just one quick question.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as one quick question. As you know, like the attorney's response, it depends.
Yeah.
You can't guarantee anything. So I get so much. The ones that kind of get me, and I feel bad too, but I get to also pick and choose the cases that I want to do, as well, that I want, because I want to be as successful as well and make sure you qualify. Um, the ones are the ones where people decide to do it on themselves, and they're in the middle of the process. They have some questions or they messed up. And I always tell people, it's like, listen, if I'm going to get into this case now, it's going to cost you more
Mm.
than if you initially signed up with me. Because now I have to go backwards. I can't just jump in a case. I don't know what you submitted. I don't know anything about you. I can't just help you attend an interview or fix this problem when I know nothing about you. So I have to go backwards, get to know you, get to know research everything you submitted and in response to get to that point. So it's actually costing more hourly time. So
It's
those are the
double the
questions.
work, essentially.
It's double the work. So I'm like, just do it right the first time.
Very similarly on my end, we'll get calls when somebody has handled their auto accident claim on their own,
Yeah.
and the insurance company has offered them, let's call it $1,200. And then they call me and I'm like, well, your accident was 8 months ago. Everything that should have been done is already
Mm.
done. I cannot now go back and fix anything.
Yeah, that's true.
We had an estate attorney on the podcast a few weeks ago, and she said, look, I'll be the first one to talk myself out of a job. Nothing that I do is magic. All of the forms are accessible to the public.
Yeah.
What my expertise is knowing what to put on those forms and how to present them.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's probably a lot of what's going on the immigration side, on what information to expose, when to expose it, how to expose it.
Exactly. Like, especially now, everything is critical. You get one shot before you if you, for example, you apply for citizenship and you're a green card holder, you don't get the citizenship. Hey, you can apply again. Now, no, you get that one shot. Now they start reporting to other agencies like ICE and so forth of why you got rejected. So the agencies are communicating more. So you really if this is my livelihood, I would invest that little bit into
Right.
it,
Right.
I would do it right the first time, because you really only get one shot nowadays.
I'm Persian, so I got to know,
Yeah.
are we on a consultation? Are we talking hundreds of dollars? Are we talking thousands of dollars? What does that investment look like
For
for
a
somebody?
consultation?
For a consultation.
Okay, I was to say my consultation is like 150.
And you get pushback.
Oh, yes. That's one of the reasons I kind of do consultation. It's like a test. It's like, are you going to take me seriously or not? Like, because you have a lot of people that just kind of want to tap into your energy, tap into your time. It's like, are you going to take this case seriously? It's like, are you serious for me to put my time into it? So it's kind of like a testing in a sense. Like,
Yeah.
do you really care about this case?
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think maybe one of the best things that we can do for listeners right now is to sort of educate them on the paradigm shift that requires to be made in order to take care of your life. You said it's your livelihood, it's your life, it's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You'll gladly spend $150 at roomies. No shade at roomies. I love roomies.
Yeah.
I'll gladly spend
Exactly. The priorities.
So yeah. By the way, I'd love to have roomies as a sponsor.
I think what it is with our profession, I don't know about you so much. Do you guys do consultation fees?
No,
No.
there's no merchants services processing at all in any of our offices, because the clients never pay us for anything.
That's true. But you get it at the end. Yeah.
With the insurance companies always send us a check and it has to go through the client trust account. We don't even touch it. That's another misconception on our end.
Yeah.
The insurance companies now have what they've started doing as soon as they mail the check to the office, they'll send a letter to the client being like, hey, we sent, $250,000 to this law firm. And luckily we provide settlement statements and they're informed. But before we had those standard operating procedures, we'd have clients call in and be like, hey, you have my money. Like they're afraid that we're going to go and spend their money.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't even, even if once we get it, I still can't access it.
Yeah.
It's got to go through your trust account.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that the listeners don't know.
I think what people, I guess, see, I'm trying to understand from their point of view as well, why it comes to that. I think what it is like, because our service is vocal. It's not like you go to like, I can imagine you go to a doctor and you're calling them on their personal phone. Hey, can you answer this question? Like, how many people do that?
Yeah.
Or push back when you have to pay a consult to go see a dentist or a doctor, just, block a time off because they're involved. They're providing like a physical service.
Right.
I think because we provide an intellectual, skill that they don't feel like we deserve to be paid.
Right.
But we're paying for education. We're paying for like the knowledge that we obtain. Like we go to conferences, keep up to date, all of this stuff, these verifications and like malpractice, everything. So people don't realize that. So I feel like that's what they see it as. Like, sometimes I feel like they really think I must be like a 1-800 call service. Like they just call. I'm like, I don't have time to just pick up a call. I have paid clients that I'm going to put priority onto.
If the client steps out of their paradigm and looks at it from your paradigm, that client, it's that one issue for them.
Yeah.
They don't realize that you're working at scale.
Yes.
So if every one of the clients is like, just give me 5 minutes of your time, your day is spoken for.
Exactly. They don't realize that that's the thing. It's like, I can't give to everybody who reaches out to me like the time. And it's not one question. It's not 5 minutes. It's like, it takes over an hour. So, and multiple times they'll reach out. It's like you answer one question, they have a follow-up question, and then you're like, oh gosh, see, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's the things, like it's time. Time is money. And, I have other cases going on that I have to put priority on who paid and invested in me. So they're my priority. So I have to put their needs first.
Bottom line, if you're in a situation where you need some guidance, $150 is a drop in the bucket for anyone. I don't care what economic level you're at. You can scrape up $150 if you're in that situation to figure out what you're going to do with your life. So we're going to leave that there. So now after consultation, is it mostly they're trying to get citizenship? Is that the...
No, citizenship is kind of less. That one's a little bit more straightforward. Some people, like I say, I recommend don't do it on your own. Make sure, because part of the consultation that we do is that they don't understand. It's like, let me see if you say you want citizenship, but let me see if you even qualify. Mm-hmm. Let's see if it's not going to be a risk even applying. Sometimes like I'm the type of attorney that I've had a couple clients. I'm like, no, like I could have easily got their case. They went to citizenships, like we can work on it. But I was like, no, you're safer staying as a green card holder right now. Come back to me in a couple of years. Let's make sure this history of yours is cleared up. Like, I'm not here to I want to do it the right way. I want to be successful. Like all my cases, thank God, have been successful because we vet out and I just want to give the best advice to people. And I forewarn them, but at the end it's their decision. But right. I give them the upfront. So once after the consultation, they take time. If they want to hire, like I say, do they want to work with me? Do I want to work with them? And if they reach out, then we engage an engagement contract and go from there. And I'm like, once you sign and the flat fee's paid, then, we take off. We take off with your work.
What's the range of somebody that is going through, that needs immigration services? If it's going to take years, you said, like possibly.
Yeah.
So that flat fee has to cover that possibility of that length of time?
That's what people don't understand. So it seems like a lot in the beginning, and I understand it's like a chunk, like a couple thousand could be in a chunk, but I'm holding on to your case. I have overhead. I have everything for at least a year, 2 years. It could sometimes be 3 years.
Right.
I'm holding on to your case. And your email, and the thing they don't realize with my flat fee is that includes the calls and emails. I'm not doing billable hours, everything. So that's the thing. Once you entrust in me, we become family. And so I don't nitpick I'm not nitpicking after that unless it's excessive. I've had some clients excessive, like every week, what's the status? What's the status? I'm like, I will let you know. But yeah, I'm holding on to cases for a year, 3 years. So it's really like pennies in a bucket when you think about the hours spent in holding on to your case.
Yeah, I see it, but that's just because from your side, I'm on this side of providing the services and I know what goes into it. We get a lot of shoppers on the front end when an accident happens, and they want to know about percentage. You're not even paying out of pocket. It's like, well, after you win, I want the percentage to be lower. There are firms, the billboard says my 25% attorney. What I say is, if you pay me even 40% or 50%, you'll double the 25%. But that's not what our fees are. But I'm saying,
Yeah.
even if you double what they're charging you, when I am able to achieve a higher gross settlement, you're still better off than paying somebody 25% on a smaller settlement, because we're only, whichever attorney you go to, they're only having a slice of the pie.
Yeah.
So the attorneys want, well, the good attorneys want to make the pie as big as possible. But I
No,
digress.
no, it's interesting because in our field, we have a lot of issues with, I don't know if in your field, probably not so much because you guys go to court and mediate all that. For us, because, people think, once again, it's just forms. It's not just a form or application, that there's so many non-attorneys, quote unquote, practicing law. These people are paying double than what I charge. They get screwed up at the end because they're not real lawyers. They have no malpractice. They have no liability. And then when they come to you, they don't want to pay you. It's like you decide to take a risk with someone because, quote unquote, you thought it was cheaper, but they're not real attorneys.
Right.
They're not invested in your case.
Nushin just said liability and malpractice. That's the insurance that attorneys have to have in case of malpractice, sort of like a doctor. If a doctor commits malpractice, they can be liable. When you're not an attorney, you not only do you not have that insurance to protect your clients, you're probably a fly-by-night shop.
Oh, and the problem is when they don't realize this. So on these immigration forms, if somebody's preparing your case, there is a section where you have to fill out the end of the application. You sign it, you date it, you put your information, who prepared this case. So as an attorney, I put my name, my thing. So I'm like responsible. I'm putting my name with the government. I prepared this case. These people who are filling it for free or really low, they're not signing it. So whatever, it falls on the client. Anything that's wrong with the application falls 100% on the client, and the clients don't know what's being filled out for them most of the time.
Is that really common? Is that not regulated?
My gosh, it's not regulated. We're trying to, like the Bar Association is trying to have like a list of, you can notify of these, but especially in the Hispanic community, they're called notarios. Huge. And even amongst the Persian communities, I know people who kind of claim they're immigration attorneys when they're not, just because they were successful in one family case. But when it gets complicated, they don't realize that you can't go back to them if they don't sign the form.
Speaking of the Hispanic community and Persians, there's language barriers are a big issue. Can you talk about some of the most common challenges when those language barriers are in place?
So majority of my clients are Iranian. So I have to say, in hindsight, like you have kids, I have kids. So back in the day, with my traditional father, we would do, I don't know if you ever had to do this, Sunday school Farsi classes. Yes, Mama Nanda. It was torturous. Never appreciated none of that. And then I actually finally enjoyed wanting to learn a language, so I took it in college, some Farsi classes. And in hindsight, look where I end up at. So my little Farsi has helped me a lot with my clients too. So it's funny. The first call I get from Iran is like, "Do you speak Farsi? Farsi sobat mikoni?" I was like, "Bebin, man Farsi mehmuni baladam va qanuni na." So I can speak.
Yeah, that's good.
I say I can speak socially to you, but not legal terms.
Right.
And I try not to do the legal terms because I want to make sure I'm conveying correctly the legal term, and also to the point that if you're applying for naturalization, you got to know a little bit of English. So it's kind of on the client as well. But I try my best. My Farsi's gotten better dealing with Iranian clients. And they say they can all understand me, but or I'll get a DM all in Farsi about something help. I'm like, please write this in English. I could sort of read it, but I don't want to take the risk I'm misinformed, So those Farsi classes I have to give to my dad that, they've helped me out.
Amazing. Naturally curious if there are any unique cases or any wild stories that our listeners might be surprised to hear that you've had experience with?
I had a sad one, which this was a really kind of hard case, but we managed it, but it ended up, I was very sad for it. There's this one Iranian young guy who fled Iran, didn't even have a passport, didn't have his military card, which is like all major documentations you need. He's in Amsterdam, and he wanted to get a tourist visa to come to the US. And so it was our uphill battle. Like, he didn't have all the documents. We had to find like substitute documents. We had to explain it to the embassy. He's a young single guy. That's already a red flag.
Yeah.
All of this stuff. And it was a mess of with the system where they lost his passport. We had to retrieve it back, send it back, everything. We finally, after a year, got his tourist visa. And so he got it before Trump came in. And I'm thinking, dude, get in now, get in if you can now. And he said, well, this was like in October, but he postponed. He's like, I can't come to summer. I'm like, okay. So then Trump comes, the ban comes. And they said he got his visa before the ban kicked in, which technically, the visa is still viable. But what people don't understand is just because you have a visa doesn't mean you're allowed entry into the U.S. A visa just gives you access on a plane to come to the U.S. border. And then the officers here make the final decision.
Wow.
So this guy got the visa after so long and so long investment, comes to the U.S. recently. He just emails like, Nushin, I just got questioned for hours at the airport and I got sent back. And they stamped my thing. My visa was voided.
Wow.
It broke my heart. And you try to console. It's like you just feel so helpless. So that was heartbreaking. Especially during around the ban time, that was hard because I had some cases where we were so close. We were up to the interview time, like for a student wanting to come here to study. And then the ban hit. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's it. That's the end of your road for you. It's like we just could not pursue anymore.
Why is it, this might be a silly question, but I'm asking because I've got an uncle that's in Iran. He applied, I assume it was for a
Got to go to
visa.
consultation.
Yeah. That's so good. This whole thing was a ruse to get.
Try to sneak a question in with
Yeah.
you.
That was good. He caught me. Okay, thanks for listening. Nah. No, he's been on a list since the 80s. And I know of a lot
On a
of
list. Like a government list over there? Or
I'm under the impression that he's applied for a visa
okay.
since the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Maybe 90s. Sorry, maybe it was the 90s. But I've heard a lot of stories like this from family friends that they've been waiting for so long, and there's like the lottery that happens or something where they get pulled for a number.
Okay, so there's called the diversity lottery. And so I don't know if that's what he was at. So every year, and I always tell all my Iranian clients that when they say talking about options, like it's certain countries who have the less amount of people that immigrate to the U.S. issues a certain amount, like a couple thousand lottery for a green card, directly getting a green card. So what it is, it's an application for free. You can apply every year, put your name into this lottery, and then they pull out like once a year, like a couple 100,000 people that you've got chosen for this lottery, but you still have to apply and qualify for that visa. So then you kind of have to hurry up in this short little period of time to like submit the applications, all of this, and still do an interview. But one thing that's great about it is that it's free just to put your name in and it goes directly to getting a green card. So I know like a lot of people put their name in every year, but some people like have been years in waiting. Some people who've like just started putting their name in, got it. It's like you just don't know. It's like it's just the best chance.
I have a lot of empathy for those people because I have a very similar experience. Every year I put my name in for the lottery for the Masters and I never get tickets. What I'm wondering is how come, because I see immigrants from all sorts of nations here in the States. It does seem to me, or maybe I just have a skewed vision because I'm just thinking about my one uncle. It does seem to me that it's exponentially more difficult for Iranians to get here.
It's all politics. It's a lot of Muslim countries. It's all politics. They claim it's for, the claim is for certain countries who are not being as open in regards to their security background checks of people, not sharing it with the U.S. before they come. But then you have to look at the list where why some countries on it and why certain other countries who have worse situations are not on it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's politics.
I see.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. It's really sad that people's lives are on the line because of politics, especially here. I think what's happening now with this administration, and a lot of people don't realize, is the reason they kind of I hate to say it, these ego men up in power, they rattle the issue of immigration because it's the only area of law they don't need congressional approval for. So they can just change the law on a whim. Like last time under administration, every Friday at 5 o'clock. Can you imagine a lawyer? You're ready for the weekend. 5 o'clock, he drops a bomb. And then you have all these clients calling. It's like, is this affecting me? Is this not affecting me? It's like, you're just like, oh my God, every week a new law. And so I feel like it's like a dwindling thing that they wave in front of you. Is like, look what I have, look what power I have.
Yeah.
Because they have that power, unfortunately.
It's something where it makes it seem like there's this one part of the government is very effective. They're working, they're doing something.
Yeah, it's a show. Yeah, they make it because that's the only thing they have unlimited power in a sense. For that. There's still rules and laws, but yeah.
On that note, because I knew you were coming in, I just sort of looked at a few things in this area of law, and I saw that there is something called the Dignity Act of 2025.
Oh, I haven't gotten into that. What I try not to do, because you can get so overwhelmed with everything that's just thrown in your face. Like we get updates every week of like a certain law.
Yeah.
Like one thing what people don't understand with immigration law, and kind of like, I guess, with a doctor, you want to go to people who are specialized in an area. So immigration has three main factors. They have asylum and removal cases, they have family-based, and they have work-based visas. Not all attorneys practice every area of law because it's a lot and it's ever-changing. Like my main thing is family-based. And so when I have someone that's like, asylum claim, I'll refer that to somebody else because I know they do it day in, day out. Because I can't keep up with the rules changing in the work base. I can't keep up with the rules changing. So I'm like, I just stay in my lane, focus on that, do the best I can on that, and tune into any changes that's happening with that.
That makes a lot of sense. And I really appreciate that tidbit. I didn't know it, so I'm assuming my listeners didn't know it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an immigration attorney, the first thing you want to do is categorize yourself, right?
Yeah.
Either are you looking for immigration for asylum, family-based,
families, or work-based. And some do all because it could be a bigger firm. Some do all, some dabble in. But I like to specialize in one area for now and, eventually do expand. But for now, this is because it's so ever-changing. I just can't keep up with the others. And I want to make sure I'm up to date. Like I don't know if I should say this, but I get sketched out when there's some lawyers that practice. It's kind of like multiply areas of laws. Like can you keep up with
door law?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Anything that comes through the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's scary because it's like
It's
kind of like going to a doctor's. Like you want to go to a specialist, and so who's do it day in, day out. And so that.
Thank you for setting that up. This podcast is brought to you by the Auto Accident Attorneys Group.
So just auto accidents.
Just auto accidents.
See, that's good. Then I know it's a one-stop shop that my auto accident's taken care of, and I'm not like I love that term. That's so much I've never heard that term. But yeah, so you want to go to a specialist. You want to make sure what area they do. Not the ones that do multiple areas, especially outside immigration. Immigration, yeah, some people can do all of it. But outside, we're doing like personal injury, immigration. So I'm like, how do you keep up with it? It's changing all the time.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. The reason I was bringing that particular piece of legislation up was because I saw that it provided legal status for undocumented people. And I was wondering if there was an interplay between that and DACA. Is DACA still a thing? The deferred action?
Yeah, so DACA is still technically around. So for the longest time, it's been a few years, it's been in the courts. It's been a battle in the courts that have people sign up for new DACA status. If you've had DACA, you can renew it. And I recommend make sure you keep renewing it. So it's still in the battle. The Dignity Act, I went on a tangent last time. So my thing about for example, Dignity Act, or any of these acts, anything they kind of put out there, or these executive orders that Trump puts out there, I don't jump on it. I just wait. I wait. Is this really going to be enforced? Like even in my Instagram, when I put up videos and stuff like that, a lot of people want to put, oh, they propose this. I'm like, don't put fear when it's not official yet.
Right.
That's my motto. So I kind of wait back to see I don't think they're going to give legal status to undocumented people. I mean, right now in the state of how things are going,
right.
It's just... it's not good.
Most of this episode has been geared towards people that might need help in immigration.
Yeah.
I would like to turn it over to you for a moment to speak to our listeners that are American citizens born here for generations.
Yeah.
Can you educate them on what DACA is?
So DACA is for, it's called the Dreamers Act. I believe it was under Obama, that it allowed children who came in undocumented into the U.S. as babies, like pretty much as 2-year-old babies. Their only known home is here in the U.S. because their parents brought them in. They were undocumented. So it allows them to have deferred action of being deported. And what that means is pre-Trump administration, because everything's kind of different now, is when someone's deportable, there was a hierarchy of who would be deportable, like those that are like undocumented with criminal convictions, those who, commit certain types of crime. It was just like a hierarchy of who was the worst until they get to the bottom. And DACA, yes, they could be deported, but they were deferred because of how low of a resource of a threat they were. These are just kids that are just living in a home they only know. They don't know their home country.
For all intents and purposes, just American kids.
American kids, really American kids. And the funny thing is that people don't realize with DACA is that these kids are under strict scrutiny, that you have to be in school, you have to be working, you have to you cannot, if you have one little crime, then you're out of DACA. So these are like the best citizens. I'm sorry to say. They're the best citizens. They're productive citizens of society. So they contribute. And so, but DACA is just because they don't really have legal status. You can't get a green card through it. You can't get citizenship through it. Through other avenues you can. But yeah, they're it gives them a chance to be here and hopefully adjust status. But they're on the bottom totem pole of being deported.
Just to be clear for the listeners, I know the way you meant it, but you said that they're the best citizens, just in the means that...
I'm sorry, yeah, not citizens, but contributors to society.
They're the best, some of the best amongst us.
Yes.
But they don't have citizenship.
No, yeah.
I think that's one thing that gets lost on people that are not completely unaffected by immigration because they don't need it.
Yeah.
By U.S. citizens, I think it's overlooked when they hear DACA. These are documented non-citizens and they are still deportable.
Yeah.
It was a means of putting them into our system so that they could be accounted for.
Yes.
So a lot of people are in the political rhetoric in that sphere, you hear a lot of how many undocumented illegals, right?
Yeah.
These are people that have gone through the process to be hey, through no fault of my own, I'm on this side of the line. Here's my information. Document me. They can check in on you.
Every 2 years. So they have tabs on them.
I believe that that's probably one of the best pieces of legislation that America has.
Yeah.
We have not afforded them citizenship, but they are accounted for and they're documented, and we can still deport them.
Yeah.
The government can still deport. I'm not coming after them.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't. They're very low on the totem pole of being deported. But it's scary because they're in this limbo too. They're living life in a limbo. They want to just assimilate completely and contribute. Right. But they're in this limbo. So that's where we're at with that. And so unless they marry, for example, a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, then they can adjust status. There's ways about it. But still, it's really sad because they're in this limbo. For example, certain states, they'll be going to, they'll be living, for example, in Georgia all their life, but they can't get in-state tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't get the same benefits.
Because of the work I do, one of the things that I'm always talking about is how important it is for the individual to get uninsured motorist protection because there are so many uninsured motorists on the road.
Yeah.
A high rate of uninsured motorists, if you think it through logically, are people that don't have driver's licenses.
Yeah.
So they can't get insurance. So one of the they're here. There are people here that are undocumented. One of the best things we can do is we don't afford them the rights of citizenship, but we document them so that when they're on the road, they can purchase a vehicle, they can have insurance. They're driving anyways. They're on the road. You see them. I know you see them, right?
Yeah.
That sounded racist, but you can sort of sometimes tell. Maybe I should delete this podcast immediately. And no hate. I love you all, but I'm trying to be real with the listeners that they exist. They're on the roads. They're working. It is in our nation's best interest for the citizens, us that are here, if they're documented so that they're part of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Sure. I have very strong feelings on immigration. Some of them are, I think they would be well liked, and some of them I might get hated on for, but it doesn't come from a racist place. It comes from just a logistics based. One thing, for example, I'm going to share this, and I don't know what kind of feedback you're going to give me. I believe that we should have a national language. I think that we should recognize one language. I think it should be English, since it's the most common one. And I believe that we would see so much more efficiency in government. At the DMV, for example, because we don't have a national language, an official language, we see those pamphlets in Tagalog, Spanish, Mandarin, Arabic. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen those flyers?
Yeah.
This is what I was waiting for. Here we go. Give it back to me.
But we're a melting pot. That's the glory of the U.S. We're a melting pot. Of course, I feel like the standard English and the language is English. Is just providing the newcomers time to adjust. You have to allow people to have time to adjust. And even like when you take citizenship, you have to like do an English test. And they actually know more. They have government questions they have to answer. They know more about the government than I do. So I think it's a slow immersion. I understand there's certain parts of like some states have like, Chinatown or more Spanish, Tehrangeles or something.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I say like it's okay, like I'm against it. That's not what I mean. I mean from the government. In
From the
private
government.
business, like I think I should have the right to put up right outside my building if I wanted my sign, the Auto Accident Attorneys Group, to be all in Spanish because I'm looking for Hispanic clientele. I think I should have the right to do that. I'm not saying to prohibit it.
Yeah.
But at the governmental level,
Governmental level.
just at the state level,
Yeah.
I think that there would be a lot of efficiency if there was an official language. And the reason I knew there was going to be pushback because I've said this in mixed company before.
Yeah.
And I got praise like, hell yeah, brother. But for a completely different reason, I was like, no. That's not,
Yeah.
we're not on the same team right now.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I'll leave that for another podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
That's food for thought.
yeah. Keeping on track with the legislation, the one big, beautiful bill that went through on July 4th.
Yeah.
One thing I'm familiar with is that the immigration fees have gone up.
Oh, it wasn't even just because of this big, beautiful bill. It's been going up lately the last couple of years. And it's getting ridiculous. They've changed it probably I don't know, within like the last 2 years or so, 2 or 3 times. They'll just, before they would give a heads up notice. It was crazy. So before they'll give you a heads up notice, like, hey, we're going to be increasing the fees in 2 months. So a lot of people would try submit their applications while the fee was low. Now they give no warning. They're like, okay, the fee has changed. And so if you're in the process, you completed your application, was going to mail it that day, it could be returned back to you for wrong filing fees.
Wow.
So there's no grace period as much anymore. But yeah, the fees do go up. Yeah. And staffing so these clients are paying USCIS to do their job by paying higher fees. But honestly, the work they're doing is getting worse and worse. Like the delays, the non-response, shutting down agencies, the staffing issues. So it's like, I don't know what we're paying for.
How big of a percentage increase are we talking about? Is it unreasonable?
It's not unreasonable, but it adds up. It adds up because when you're paying a flat fee for attorney and then with the application fees on top, you're paying like this chunk. And I always tell clients, like, it's a lot in the beginning, but then, and I try to space it out. However, I'm like, okay, you can pay my flat fee. We don't pay application fee until we're done with your application. Give you 2 months time while we're working on this to collect that fee. It's just a lot up front, I think. And so when you're dealing with attorney fees.
What does that application fee look like? What is that at
It
right now?
varies. Like if you want to renew a green card, I believe, like people would ask me all the time. I'm like, don't quote me because I have to honestly check every day. Like, has it changed since? Because I can't remember all
That's
the
how
fees.
quickly they change.
You just don't know. You just don't know. So like for example, renewal of a green card, I think is like $675. So now they have 2 separate fees. They have a fee if you do a paper application or an online application, and then for example, for adjustment of status, to do like 3 applications with this adjustment of status packet, it could be up to $2,400 and something.
Just for the
Application
USCIS application
Yeah.
fees. Oh, so it's
It adds up.
expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
What do people do?
So people, there are companies that work with immigration law firms. I know this one company that kind of would reach out to me. It's like, hey, if you have a client that needs a payment plan, we provide that. Like we'll pay the attorney, we'll give them a payment plan that helps them create credit as well, in a sense. So it's a benefit to the clients. There's that. At the end of the day, they do have the money. At the end of the day, do. It's funny. Everyone pays differently. Every culture is different. So I had to learn, it's like in the beginning, I had to learn how to deal with different cultures. And it's really interesting.
Speaking of that, you said you interview your potential clients as well as them interviewing you.
Yeah.
Do you have an ideal client?
Oh, I love the organized ones. I love the ones that have everything and who are tech savvy that could scan and send me and who are responsive. I love the ones that, that trust. You have to have trust. You're hiring me like I understand I'm a stranger to you, but you have to. That's why with the interview to build, you have that trust with me because if you don't trust, then it makes it harder, because I'm on your team and we're both going against the U.S. government. So they have to remember that I'm not, you get caught in the middle. You have the U.S. government messing up. You have a client that's anxious, obviously so, and want their stuff done. So you're in the middle and you're like, you have to relay the bad news or that you don't have any news on their status. And you're like, listen, I'm on your team. I'm fighting for you. So you just have to trust me that I'm doing the best I can, but you're limited. Your hands are tied. You're still dealing with a third party. I always have to say that in my consultations. We're dealing with a third party we have no control over.
Right.
So you have to be really upfront and realistic with clients. But I love the ones that do trust, that are have their documents all aligned and just great communicators.
How important is a grasp of the English language?
Not so like everyone's pretty much like can like write an email, have basic conversation. Like I said, a lot of my clients are Iranian. You know, I've never had an issue with language. Even though I have clients from Iran like reaching out to me. Like we manage through voice messages. Like if I can't write in Farsi, voice messages
Right.
went through WhatsApp. Then they may on their end be using Google Translate, but there has to be a basis for, like if I'm working for someone abroad, they have to have internet access and you do have to know English. And that's part of the, like you say, government main language should be English. That's kind of like my mentality. It's like, if you're going to come here, you're going to have to know English. I can't bend over for your language. You got to start assimilating to this language.
Right.
And if you can't, it's going to be a little more difficult in all aspects of your life if you come here. So it's kind of like a starter packet in a sense. It's like,
So is most of the language barrier between the client and the attorney? Because what I was thinking was, at what point in time in the process are they dealing with the state?
So it's mainly client attorney just to really understand things like where they're coming from. Like for example, when they're sending me documents and Iranian documents, everything has to be certified translation in English to submit to the government. So that's not an issue. It's just that they're communicating me by, luckily with technology, like if they're calling me, I'm not understanding a certain term, I want to make sure I understand it. Then, we'll do voice message and I can understand that, or, Google Translate. But pretty much I've had an issue understanding somebody from somewhere else. Yeah.
So I'm going to try and skip the $100 fee again. If my uncle happens to be listening to my podcast in Iran,
Hi, Uncle.
Daya Salam. Salam. Durud, correction. If he's listening in Iran and he's like, okay, I want to, let's say I got all the facts completely wrong. He has never applied. He wants to apply. He goes to, is it BagheriLaw.com?
Yes, BagheriLaw.com. I have a contact form on there. They can contact me and I would email you back. Or you can call my office. There's my office phone number. And the most important information I need is your email, because that's the majority of how I keep communications with my clients. With my Iranian clients in Iran, we use WhatsApp a lot just for communications, but anything like documented, anything status-wise, anything about the case, I like to do by email. So you can always refer back to what we discussed and make sure we're all on the same page and we're checking off the checklist. And so, so they can call me. We can do like initial consultation. I've done consultation through WhatsApp video call or FaceTime, or even a Zoom. And once we meet each other, then after that, we really don't have to really meet each other. It's just back and forth document, exchange.
Going back to the logistics of payment, do you have like a credit? How does somebody from Iran actually pay you?
Yeah, so that gets a little tricky because of the whole like U.S.-Iran sanctions and how you do business with one another. So it's very tricky. My thing is that for now, until I figured things out a little bit more, is usually an extended family member, someone here in the U.S., extended family member in Iran. So I always say, do you have someone in the U.S. that can pay my fee, pay it, and then you guys figure out how you're paying each other, pretty much.
And there's so many like difficult issues that come along with this.
It is, and it's a fine line between these two countries.
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure that out. Like it limits it in some ways, but it's only happened maybe a couple times where some clients didn't know anybody here in the U.S. I'm like, I haven't built up to that point where I can figure out how to make that transfer. You can always go through a third party, but it's just the logistics of it.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Well, I don't know enough about what the immigration process looks like to ask any follow-up questions on that. So I'm going to pivot and ask, have you been involved in um, any situations where you have an immigration client that was involved in an auto accident and how that affected their claim?
Not an auto accident. I do have like more criminal attorneys calling to see how to plead a case, how that would affect them in their immigration, which is very important. But we do have to, regarding auto, the main thing is so any interaction with a police, like in immigration, you're going to have to bring that up. Whether it's expunged, if it's been sealed, you still have to bring it up in immigration documents at one point or another. So maybe not an auto accident, not so much an auto accident, but of course, like speeding tickets, DUIs are huge, and that's a killer of a case. Like that can kill your prospects. You have to be very careful with that. And then more like marijuana possession and criminal stuff that can follow you and harm your future applications. But auto accident per se, unfortunately, no.
If so, you haven't had a case where they were involved in an auto accident, not at fault. It's not like they were a DUI driver. They were rear-ended from behind, but rear-ended from behind. It's typically where you get rear-ended. But they didn't have status. You haven't had direct.
No, I haven't had direct of that type of case, but I've heard in other aspects where the ones who are not driving with licenses, like they get pulled over because of a broken tail light, and that's when they get taken to detention.
Yeah.
They realize they're undocumented at that point. So if you are in a car accident, you don't have any status at that point, when the police comes, then they can find out you're undocumented. Then that causes trouble later on.
That could be an issue
Yeah.
on when they're going through like the immigration with dealing with USCIS.
Dealing with CIS, yes. Yeah.
I was sort of setting you up to talk about my experience. We have had several clients that were undocumented that were afraid that something would happen. Um, Usually, the insurance companies will ask for when they're settling a case.
Yeah.
Again, these are people that were not at fault. They're just happened to be driving or they were crossing the street and they get hit. Usually insurance companies, when they settle a case, want social security numbers, and the
Yeah.
clients are aware of that and they freak out. When we have, and this is very commonplace. This isn't something unique to our firm. It's not because we did anything with the insurance company. The insurance companies also know these are all civil matters.
Mhm.
So there's no issue. Again, I'm not talking about DUI drivers or speeding driver. This is the person that was victimized. This is a not at fault
Yeah.
individual. No effect on their settlement.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
Yeah.
That's good to I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, they can bring a claim. We actually had the family members of someone that was deceased.
Mm.
Unfortunately, he was a pedestrian struck by a moving vehicle, and there's a 2-year statute of limitations to bring a claim.
Okay.
I found out about the case about 30 days prior to the statute of limitations
Oh, wow.
passing.
It's always the last minute cases.
Yeah. Well, the thing was that the family members all knew, but they were afraid that it was
Like so.
somebody else would he's passed,
Yeah.
but they're afraid that somebody else would get in trouble. I assured them that they wouldn't. And we had already prepped the lawsuit, but we sent out an offer of settlement to the insurance company. It was pretty large policy limits on that one particular vehicle. We had the lawsuit drafted, sent an offer of settlement. They knew in the offer of settlement, we said that we've got the lawsuit ready to go. They knew that they were going to have to end up in court and there might be additional exposure because the driver was at fault. And they popped the policy. And in a matter of 30 days, we had a pretty significant check for that family.
Oh, wow.
It was like the last gift that
Yeah.
their grandfather had left for them. So
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know that. There's just so much vastness how immigration affects other areas of law. And that's
Yeah.
good to know. So if someone does come up to me, because there is that fear factor of exposure. And you just, I'm so into my area of law that it's good to know how others how affect them in other areas.
yeah. Well, historically, they're protected because, again, they're victims.
Yeah.
And there are certain jurisdictions that are actually, they've got statutes on the books where it prohibits law enforcement. If a pedestrian is hit and they go to the hospital, law enforcement is prohibited from providing any sort of immigration status to ICE on that individual.
Yeah.
In full transparency, I don't know what that's going to look like
I haven't.
in moving into the future?
I've heard it's not really that. Unfortunately, there's a lot more communication happening in the
Yeah.
hospitals. Yeah, but
So
I'm not sure 100%, but I've heard. Yeah, we're just not in normal times right now.
yeah. Well, it's uncertain.
Yeah.
It's a lot of changes going on, and again, a lot of use of executive orders,
Yeah.
which this isn't a political podcast, but I find it ironic that the Conservative Party has always been about states' rights,
Mm.
and it seems like they're wielding federal power exponentially more than I remember in my lifetime. And again, I don't care one way or the other, just the sheer fact of concentrating power in one federal area as opposed to letting the states sort of figure a lot of these things out on their own.
Yeah.
That was something that was appealing to me about the Conservative Party, and it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And I can't help but feel like the irony is lost on conservative voters right now. I hope
Yeah.
they think about that. I just saw, and I'm getting off track, but I got to say it.
Yeah.
I saw that there was an executive order that prohibited the burning of the American flag,
Yeah.
which I don't want to burn the American flag. I respect the American flag. I don't think you should burn the American flag, but I do think that it makes you fundamentally American, that you have the right to do that
Yeah.
if you so choose to. That's what being an American is.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I was talking about the official language, you said we're a melting pot. I think that America is unique from other countries because, well, the indigenous people are few and far
I
between.
know.
Where we are today in 2025, I think what makes you an American is in between your ears, your ideology,
Mm-hmm.
how you treat your neighbors, the belief system that you have. I think that something as simple as littering or returning a shopping cart would really make a true American. And I say that because when you take that kind of action, when you don't litter or you pick up litter that you see that you didn't drop, when you put your grocery cart back, it shows inherently that you have a tie to that community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another reason why I would prefer that we.
I feel guilty for the times I haven't put my shopping cart back. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, don't let me hit you. I will. I won't assault people, but I'll mention it. I will shame people.
No.
The biggest reason I feel like people that are here already should be documented is because when they're not documented, they have no ties to here. So they treat the land poorly.
Yeah.
Because they don't feel like they belong to it. They always have a backup. They're going to come here and make money and leave even. And forget like the undocumented, but other people. This is my own personal paradigm of the world. I feel like if you give people that want it, right? Not everyone wants it, but if the people that want it, you give them a reason to be tied to the land, I think that it makes life better for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's me on the soapbox. Let me ask you one more question before we get into the tail end of it. Are there any common legal challenges that immigrants face when that you've had experience with, or something rather that our listeners may have never thought about?
Once they arrive in the U.S.,
Yeah.
this is more for awareness. What I think a lot of people don't realize is, so a lot of the cases that I handle are like marriage-based, bringing somebody from abroad, coming to the U.S., like 90-day fiance, or they get married abroad and they apply for their spouse to come to the U.S. A lot of these relationships, they don't know each other too well. You could be married for somewhere 20 years and you still don't know them.
Right.
So let alone these short, distant, long distance marriages, right? My tidbit is there are protections for immigrants, especially spouses that do come and they enter into what they didn't realize, an abusive relationship. And so there are rights and protections for them. So, for example, there is the VAWA for victims of violence. It could be for men, it could be for women. It doesn't have to be physical violence. It could be financial abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. That when you get a green card through its spouse to get either a condition, if you've been married less than 2 years, you get a 2-year green card. If you've been married longer, you get a 10-year green card. When you get the 2-year green card, you have to reapply to remove the conditions to show that marriage was real, to get a 10-year green card. So usually it's these 2-year green cards. They've been married less than 2 years. They come here. When you remove the conditions of the 2 years, usually majority of times people are still happily married and you show that it was a real relationship and it's still continuing on. But what a lot of immigrants don't realize is you don't always have to have that spouse to help you get to the next level. There are resources and there are waivers if you are a victim of domestic violence, because there are people out there, there are bad people out there where they'll sponsor somebody here, dangle them. Hey, I have your access to your green card. I'm going to give it to you if you don't do this for me. And, that's just wrong. That's not fair. That's not human. So there are resources I think people don't realize. One, if you're a victim of domestic violence, there's a whole process you can petition without the need of the spouse. And then if there's a conditional green card where you were married for less than 2 years and you can still remove it based on divorce, based on battery, or based on extreme hardship, that if you were to be sent back to your home country, you'll suffer extreme hardship. So there are recourses that you are not tied to the bone to the person who sponsored you.
Wow. That's really interesting. Did I hear you correctly? Violence Against Women's Act, VAWA,
VAWA.
is not just for women. Men have
Exactly
protection
that.
under that?
Yes, and that's the thing. So that's a lot of, and there's people believe there's like shame into or not, but no, men just as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will you come back on
I've seen it was interesting, yeah.
men getting beaten?
Getting taken advantage of, harassed, yeah, threatened.
I'd love to have you on and watch an episode of 90 Day Fiancé.
You know what? I've never watched one of those episodes.
You're joking.
Because I know. It's like, this is not real. I do need to sit down and watch it. I do. I need to see what the hype is.
It is quite entertaining.
Especially the ones that do marry and move forward. I'm interested to see that.
I can't believe that I am admitting in public that I've watched this. But yeah, there's a couple, I forget the girl's name, but the guy is Gino. And Gino always wears a hat. I think he's lost his hair or something.
Uh-huh.
And when I say always wears a hat, I mean, they've got scenes where he's in the shower and he's got a fedora on. It's
Wow.
as far as junk food TV goes, one of the best. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd like for you to share with our listeners. I know that you do an annual or semi-annual donation drive. Can you tell us about that and how we can participate?
I really appreciate that. So one of my passion is, I love doing my work. That is still work, but my passion is more the humanity side of it. For about 15 years or so, I've gotten to know there's nonprofit organizations here in Georgia, because in the U.S., I think there's 5 or 6 major cities that accept refugees. And Atlanta, Clarkston, Georgia, and that's near Atlanta, near Stone Mountain, is the main center where refugees are resettled. So that when they come in, there's these nonprofit organizations, multiple here in the U.S., that are signed or giving grants to help them assimilate, provide them temporary housing, English as a second language classes, learning to drive, all these classes, get them on their 2 feet. But they only could do for a certain short amount of time, provide these families. Here, these families are coming in, these refugees family are uprooted from their life. They don't want to be here. They want to be back home, but they're in war or, natural disaster, something. So they come with a suitcase. And this could be a family of 10. They could be a family of 4 to ranging to 10. I've seen that come into these itty bitty apartments. They come with nothing. So these nonprofits, based on whatever financial grants they can get, they help supply as much as they can. But for example, I think it's 3 months assistance. It's not all free money. Everyone's like, oh, why, they get free money, get free apartments. I was like, no, they're kind of loaned that and then they're in charge of it. But can you imagine going to a new country and then figuring out how you don't know the language, you don't have a job, and now you have to pay rent?
Yeah.
And so it's scary. It's a lot. So these nonprofits help assist with that, with donations and grants and so forth. When I would work with these organizations, I would see the part where after they were left off and they're still not acclimated, they still don't have anything. You have all these kids, they need just the basic stuff. Detergent's expensive, all these heavy things, home products are expensive. So what I would do, I knew a lot of people from the different organizations, and I would do an annual refugee donation drive as my part to give back. We're all blessed in so many ways. We each have something to give in one way or the other. This is my way of being able to give back. That I would do these donation drives where I would collect from my community. And, I have an amazing community of followers and my Instagram, people that I've known, grew up here from all over, people I've met and I haven't met. I would just post about this donation drive where I would collect monetary donations. And I'll collect the monetary donation, and people who haven't even met me, like, who follow me and stuff, they sense that trust in me and, what I do, and I have a record of what I've done. They'll send me monetary donations. I'll use because I know how it is when you donate to big organizations. You're like, "Where's my money going to?
Right.
Is it going to
Right.
the admin? Is it going to
Yeah.
this, the management?" And I know that feeling. I get like, "Where's my money going to?" So my word and my guarantee to my donors are 100% of your donations that you send to me, I take it 100% use. I personally purchase all the items. I personally bag all the items and I personally deliver to the door. It doesn't go to the organizations. It just goes through me. I just get the list of clientels from them who needs help the most and
Yeah.
what kind of help. So I've done like back in the day, I did like a bike drive. Oh my God, that was my favorite. But that was the hardest because there's only so many bikes you could fit in your SUV. But I would donate these to the refugee children who are in these apartment complexes. They don't have TV, they don't have toys, they have nothing. They're stuck inside these homes that are dark, and you give them a bike, and you felt like you give them wings. They're
Wow.
out there playing outside, just happy go lucky, and so humbles you, like
That's
the
beautiful.
simplicity of life. So I did that, which I loved. I hope I could do that at some point again. But that's the thing. As I've gotten bigger over the years, I've been needing more help because I'm getting physically older. I'm like, I physically can't lift all these Costco boxes anymore by myself. So I like recruited my boys until they can help me if they're available. And I always ask for volunteers, like anyone want to help me out. And so amazing volunteers help me with the shopping, help me with putting the bags together, help me deliver it. Like, because we have cars full going to apartment. So I've been doing it for 15 years. I've done hygienes. I've done bike donations, and I added on I didn't do it last year, I think it was 2 years ago, a coat drive. Because once again, they come here, they have nothing. They're not prepared for the weather here. If they're coming like from Syria or somewhere warm or from Africa, it's all hot. They're not used to the weather here.
Yeah.
So I do coat drive. And the reason I do monetary donations is like everyone says do donate used stuff. Nothing against it. You have to realize these people are still human beings. They like to have something new and fresh. That feeling when you get something new, like a present,
Yeah.
There's room for people that want stuff, but like new and fresh, and you just it makes you feel more human in a sense, and that some have pride. Like some of these refugees are lawyers back in hometown. Now they're Uber drivers, so they have a sense of pride. So you just want to give them that feeling. Like these kids love it when they still have a coat with a tag on it, or they could pick a coat.
Yeah.
So that's what I do to give them that little glimmer of happiness for a brief moment, if I can.
That's beautiful.
So I've done the coat drives, but yeah, so I do that every year. I try to do 2 years, like a hygiene drive and the coat drive. It's what I physically can try to do, like to the best. But it's just the donors that make it. And I always tell them, it's not me. It's not me doing it. I'm just the middleman connecting the nonprofits, clients to the donors who always say they want to help. And I'm like, I'm just that middleman. So whatever's done it's your good grace. It's your blessing that you're sharing. I'm just helping being the transporter of it. So I don't take, saying it's my donation drive. It's my donors that make it happen.
That's beautiful. And you are manifesting all of that. You're being the not to get religious, but a tool of God.
I hope so. Like, we're all so blessed. And I that's teach to my kids. I was like, it's hard to sometimes want to give your little allowance money or whatever. But listen, that little bit, that's the test. That hardest of giving, it comes back
Yeah.
tenfold. It comes
Yeah.
back tenfold.
I absolutely agree. I think that it's even if you feel like you don't have something to give, I think it's a Persian, the Tarof nature in
Yeah.
us. Even when you don't have something to give and you still give, you find a way to give and you get so much back. And I don't mean that in terms of an ROI, but just like
Yeah.
the feeling of the universe and
And I believe in
peace.
karma. You give out and it comes back. It may not come back in that way, but it comes back
Right.
in life. And I've seen it. And it's just, and it's true. So it's like here's that opportunity. But, and everyone doesn't have to be monetary. Like they don't have time. Like it's funny. It's the last time I actually was like, maybe people may not be comfortable because I have new followers. They're being new to this donation. They don't know who I am. Maybe let me do an Amazon list and they could purchase it. It'd be shipped to me. They could purchase whatever they want, however much they want to spend. Like even a Starbucks coffee can get like a detergent for a family of like 6,
Right.
for a month. And that's why I try to emphasize. It's just like give up one of your coffees or 2 of your coffees. But so I did an Amazon list. It was funny. It felt harder for some people. Like, can I just give you the money? Can I just give you the money by it yourself? I'm like, okay, sure. That's easier for me because then I can calculate how many for how much. to give. And so I've tried ways to see what works best with everybody who feels comfortable because, a lot of people may not know me, but it's been amazing, like the trust and, and I try to be as transparent every step I go through. This is where your money, this is what we purchased for you. Like, this is what you guys, this is how many families we're able to help.
You're going over, above, and beyond. And our firm's tagline is "We take care of you." The purpose of the podcast is to provide information to take care of listeners. You exhibit that in your daily life. So
Yeah, I try.
kudos to you.
Thank you. That brings happiness to my soul. So
I love it. نوشین خانم خیلی خوشبخت شدم که امروز
مرسی
اومدین.
همچنین مرسی که من دعوت کردی.
I wanted to practice as much Farsi as I could with you.
So I think we're on the same level.
I really, really appreciate your time. I would love to have you back on again in the future. We're going to have all of your links on below the video and on the audio portion of the podcast. So if, like I've said with other guests, if a guest appears on this podcast, they believe in the "we take care of you" ethos. So feel free to reach out. Look, you're going to get taken care of for a consultation fee of $150. So do not push back on that. But I'm sure any information that you need, Nushin will be more than happy to help you out. Mom, my number one listener, I know you listen to this. Please share this with Daya Salan.
We'll bring Dai here one day.
Love you, Mom. All your listeners, please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.